Hello and welcome to the second of these 5 short videos on the Teeline Shorthand system. Now these intensive lessons are going to give you an overview of the Teeline Shorthand system, and at the end of it you're going to be able to write sentences and use it in your day-to-day life, except that if you want to go further and get even higher speeds and write even more fluently and effectively, you can join our online course, Teeline Online, and learn the whole theory and more shortcuts to make it even easier. So I hope you've already watched the other video, the first one, which covered the alphabet. And if you haven't, I suggest you have a look at that first before this one, because this one we're going to go a bit further using the alphabet that we've already used. And I'm going to go over the vowels and when to use them. And at the end of it, if we get through to the special outlines, which I'm going to talk about, I'm going to give you a whole sentence to read and you can start using it straight away. So the vowels. As you know from the last lesson, the vowels are only used when they're essential. So most of the time you leave them out and it's like text speak. So you leave the unessential vowels out, the silent letters and double letters. And what I call the full vowels look like this. And as you know, that is also the symbol for S. But you're never going to get that muddled up with these vowels, because the vowels here in this form are very rarely attached to the letters. They're used for something else. These versions are used as a specific ending to the words, and I'll give you an example. A-B-L-E, able. So that A represents the word able or able to, and also the ending. So if I put this letter in, which is, as you know, T, and add the A, I get the word table. And I can do these with all the vowels. I can use an R and put E for rebel or rebel. I can use an I, and I'll go back to I because that's more common. A D with an O for double, and I know it sounds like a U, but Teeline is not phonetic, so it goes on the spelling most of the time rather than the sound. Bubble. But let's just say you did use a U for double. That's fine. As long as you can spell, and as long as the vowel is a full vowel and it's disjoined, then you're going to know in the gist of the sentence that it's a double and not using the U. Now I will go back to the I because there's more words with I. And this ending. Possible, sensible. Now I'm going to put this one, and that's respectable. And that gives me a good illustration for you of special outlines. Special outlines are words that are shortened even more in the Teeline system to represent commonly used words. Now I've already told you that A represents able, and every letter of the alphabet represents another common word. And it's like learning vocabulary from, if you're learning a foreign language. You can learn as many as you like, but the more you learn, the quicker you'll be. But if you don't learn them, because as they go on, they get a bit more specific to certain terminology and technology. If, for example, there's a word for manufacturing, which is a special outline and it's very quick to write, you might think, well, I'm never going to use that word manufacturing. I can still write it in full very quickly, so I'm not going to learn that word. So these special outlines, which are shortened versions of the words, come up in every lesson on our online course, and they're just suggestions for you to use to make it even quicker to write. So this is respectable, and it's only using RSP and the A for able. And here's possible and sensible. And if you had a sentence, I can't possibly come tonight, you're going to know that this is actually possibly. Or if the sentence is, there is no possibility that I can come today, again, you're going to know that if it's a disjoined I and it's the full vowel, you're going to know that it's possibility because the gist of the sentence will tell you. There is a way you can show that it's possibility, but if you don't want to, then the gist of the sentence will tell you, so it's not necessary. As long as it's a disjoined, full vowel, then you're going to get what the word is. So these full vowels are used disjoined at the end of words to represent those that full ending. And that's quite a common theory point in Teeline, that if something is disjoined and close to the letter, close to the previous word, it indicates something's missing. In that case, BL. And here are the vowels written half vowels. So you've got A going that way, E straight down, I in the other direction, O and U straight down. And yes, these are the same, the gist of the sentence will tell you. And O is completely different because it's half the full O. And the ones you need to really concentrate on are A and I. And sometimes the other half of the A can be written and the other half of the I. So sometimes they go upwards and they are similar to each other. But again, the gist of it will make it clear. And I'll show you in a minute when you use that version. So when do you use these vowels? You use the vowels at the beginning and ends of words when they're sounded. So for example, A-N-T is ant. If I change the direction and use an I-N-T, and an O on the end is into. If I just did T-O, that is T-double-O, or the number 2. But it's not 2, because 2 is just a T, and that's one of the special outlines I was telling you about. And I'm going to give you a few more because I want to give you this sentence at the end of this session, so I want to make sure that you recognise these words. So T represents 2, B represents bee or bean. V, attached to a word, represents have. U represents you. And N represents and. And then what you get are groupings. Now, if you're taking down shorthand and you're taking down something that somebody's speaking to you, if you have to take it down verbatim, that's going to be quite fast. And if there are certain phrases in the English language that people say quite quickly. In the meantime, as a matter of fact, he said, we are, you are able to. And if you're behind and you need to catch up, it's very helpful if you can join these words. But it's only helpful if you are behind. It's no good going back and joining it. That defeats the object. But if you're behind and need to catch up, and it's easy to blend some words together, then you can do that. For example, we have, you are. And if I put an A on the end of it, that is, you are able to. Right. To be, you can write like that, to be able to, or you can even shorten it some more for just a circle, and that's to be. So you can see there's all these shortcuts and blends that enable you to write even faster. And the more you learn, the quicker you'll be and the more efficient your notes will be. So So all these come up in our lessons. There are lots of special outlines and groupings in every lesson for you to learn. And there's lots of content for you to practice, because it's great that I'm able to intensively go through all this theory with you, but I do go through it quite quickly, and you don't have time to put it into practice, or I don't have time to test you. But in our lessons, depending on how much support and feedback you want, you get lots of help, you get lots of tests and exercises and dictation practice. And you can have the lessons for life. There's no limit to the access, so you can go back to it at any time to revise, and you can keep building your speed and your target that you want to reach. So going back to these vowels and when we put them in, you put them at the beginning and end of words when they're sounded, and the middle of words to make it easier to write. For example, if I wanted the word bend, in order to join B and N together, that's too difficult. It makes a messy outline. So you put the vowel in to help you. And these words will help you to learn the shapes of, sorry, I've written that twice, will help you learn the shapes of the directions of the vowels, because that's the E, so it's bend, that's the I going that way, so it's bind, and that's the A going that way, so it's band. So I'm using that to join the B and the N together. Another one would be B and G, also too difficult to join together, so I put the vowel in, bag. But let's say that at speed, it's too quick for you to write the A in the right direction. Again, the gist of the sentence will tell you. Now, at the end of words, you use the vowel for Y. So this is by and this is bay. So the Y is only used at the beginning of words, for example, yellow. And when you see Y in the middle or at the ends of words, it represents oi. Oops. So this is a good example. L-Y, T-I for Y. So this is loyalty. Loyalty. L-Y for oi. L-T-I, loyalty. So let me just make that a bit simpler. Boy, toy. So at the ends of words when you use the Y, it represents oi, and in the middle. So at the end of words when when a Y comes at the end of words, you use whichever vowel makes that sound. So that's bay and by, lay and lie would be the same, and loyalty is a good example. You've got the Y in the middle for oi, and an I at the end to represent the final Y. Okay, I'm looking at the clock here because I wanted to make this in 15 minutes, so we've covered quite a lot in this time, but I want to finish off by showing you a sentence that you can read now, and I'm going to finish off with this sentence, but don't forget at any time you can register for our online lessons, you can contact me directly, you'll find my email on the website, and have a one-to-one session with me, and I'll go through the course with you and show you what services we can offer you. And look out for the next video session. The next session will be on blending. And we also do free live video sessions on the alphabet. So if you want to refresh the alphabet and be able to interact and ask questions, then look out for those as well. So So here's the sentence I want to finish off with to see if you can read. Here's another example of when you can't join the L and the S. So I use the vowel. Just put a vowel in here to help you read it. So there you go. I hope you can read it. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. You can now write sentences.